right, I just finished watching The Last of Us season 2 episode 4 called Day 1, and this show just keeps getting better. As I'll bring up later, I think just these episodes just go by so fast. Like a lot of these 55-minute plus episode shows, sometimes they can just be a drag and you're just waiting for it to end, but this show just goes by so fast before you even know it, it's over, and then you gotta wait another week. I mean, that's a compliment, but I mean, overall it's a good thing. I think keeps the pace going, doesn't leave you bored, keeps you engaged, and then when it's over, I feel like you retain a lot of the information more as well, because you're not bored, you're zoning out, you're locked in, and retain a lot of what's happened, which is always nice. So pacing A1, I'd say. The episode starts with Josh Peck is in this episode. Funny enough, just saw him and I was just like, what the like what? But I like him. He's fun. He's funny. And he's in a truck with these other Fedra soldiers, and they're going somewhere. And he's telling a story about how there are these people called voters, which they're people who their rights were taken away by basically this group that they're a part of, and someone started calling them voters as just a way to rub salt in the wound, taking their rights away and then calling them voters when they can't vote is just like a slap in the dick. Anyway, Josh Peck's character is telling a story about how he goes a lot easier on the voters than this other guy named Greenberg, and goes on this whole story, and the dudes are all laughing, and there's one guy who clearly he's new because he's just like like he's clearly out of the loop, as is the audience. You don't know who the fuck this guy is he's talking about, but eventually they pull up on these like religious people or something. They're just in the street walking around blocking the path, and you got Jeffrey Wright in this episode. Introducing him, he plays Isaac, and he's a sergeant of this unit of the Fedra agents, and he tells them he's gonna go outside to talk to these people himself. Josh Peck and the crew are like, oh, Sarge, that's not a good idea, and he's like, you're gonna listen to me, and I'm gonna go out there and do this myself. And he does that, and well, first of all, the new guy, he asks, after Josh Peck tells his story, he asks like why they call them voters, and he goes, yeah, who gives a shit, that's just what we call them. And Jeffrey Wright is the one who explains what the voters are, and he invites the new guy with him to go talk to those people, so he clearly sees that he actually has some kind of self-awareness and isn't just a mindless soldier just meant to kill. Turns out that Isaac is actually working with these people. He shakes the main woman's hand, and then he goes to the truck. This part was crazy. He goes to the truck, he pulls out 2 grenades, he just throws them in the truck, shuts the door, and the soldiers are like, what? And he blows them all up. One of them manages to crawl out of the front of the truck, and he just blasts them. And I was like, what? I was like, this dude's crazy. He's crazy. The new guy, he's like aimed his gun at him and then puts it down. He's like, Isaac's like, time to make your choice. And he obviously decides that, as we all would have, like, I didn't like those guys anyway. I was new, I'll join you. I don't care. I won't tell anyone. I don't give a shit. Like I said, I don't know those dudes. I don't like them. Who cares? And as the title of the episode says, this is the first day, or it's day 1, but it's the first day they're in Seattle, and they're just walking down these highways. There's a bunch of remnants of old battles and stuff. There's tanks and military vehicles and skeletons everywhere, and they're just looking around at all the stuff. They eventually decide to hunker down in this record store so they can also hide the horse, and the horse got some grass to munch on. And in the record store, Ellie finds a guitar, which we all know about Ellie's guitar, and she starts to play Take on Me, and I thought it was a pretty good cover. And Dina comes upstairs in the building, and she's listening to Ellie play, and she's tearing up and getting emotional, and afterwards she's complimenting Ellie, and Ellie says to thank Joel for all the lessons that he gave her. And it was a nice scene, because at least for me growing up, there was this place we would always go to with my family, and it was the song, like the main song they would use for their advertisements was the Take on Me song, so it has some kind of nostalgia for it. So the scene overall was just a pretty good, emotional scene. So you have that nice scene, and then you get to this next scene where you're back to Isaac, and he's monologuing about Mouviel French copper pans and how he used to woo the ladies with his cooking, and but he couldn't afford these French pans. But now he's got some of them, but they can conduct heat really well and heat up really fast, but then they also lose heat really fast, so it's not really good for torturing. And he turns around and you see there's a naked guy chained up in the corner, and he's fucked up. He's beat to shit. He's all bloody. He's sitting there just praying to the mother, or whatever they call her. Isaac calls him a scar, so I don't know exactly what the scars are, if that's like the religious group or something. And the oh, okay, yeah, so all those kids who got killed in the last episode in that group were killed by the wolves. These are Fedra agents, so I don't know, I'm honestly confused. If someone can explain to me the difference, if you played the game, like what the difference between all these groups are, kind of getting confused. Anyway, he's talking to this scar guy. He's asking him this, like, where the scar is going to attack next, and the dude's not giving it up, and he's like, hold your hand out, and he burns his flesh off with a pan, and the guy just keeps letting him do it, just keeps letting him burn him, and Isaac realizes that he's not going to break in, and then just shoots him. I was not expecting Jeffrey Wright to be playing such a insane character, like a crazy psychopath. Here we are, and he's really good at it. So I feel like there's gonna be a lot of Emmys flying around for this season. I can already see it. And then you got Dina and Ellie. They're going through this tunnel, and there's these corpses hanging from the ceiling, and they've got they're disemboweled, and their intestines are flailing everywhere. And Dina starts throwing up again, and I was like, wow, he's really just throwing up a lot. And I was just like, how are you gonna kill somebody with such a weak stomach? But then we find out that she's pregnant, and that's the reason why she's been throwing up a lot. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense, because I was like, you've been throwing up a lot. And I was like, I don't know how you're gonna kill somebody, but in the episode she blasts a dude in the face and doesn't phase her. So after she brings that up, her and Ellie go to Pound Town. They wake up and they go to scope out the place they need to go, and Ellie's like asks Dina to reconsider now that she's pregnant, but Dina was like, no, I'm gonna go with you. That's where the episode ends, but we gotta talk about Ellie being immune. Earlier in the episode, they were like or before this, they were running through this tunnel, and there was these soldiers as well as this horde of zombies, and they managed to escape those. And when they were escaping, one of the zombies managed to break through and almost bit Dina, but Ellie stuck her arm out, took the bite. And after that, Dina was on edge, had the gun pointed at her at all times. Eventually, Ellie convinces her that, she is immune. And that's when they, chicka chicka bow bow. And yeah, like I said, these episodes, they just fly by. The writing's good, the acting is good, the music's good, and just everything's good. You just get so locked into the world before you know it, it's over. And then you gotta, we're gotta wait another week. That's the fun of television, isn't it? You can talk to people about it, you can soak it in, and then by next week, you're ready to get locked in again. So let me know, did you like this episode? Did you hate this episode? Do you hate the show? Do you love the show? Let me know. Hit the like button, subscribe. Peace.